house and we're going to plant some fruit trees. And there's your dog. Anyway, we're getting set up here. We plan on measuring out depending on which tree and how much it's going to spread. And we're going to plant one on this end of the lawn and one that end of the lawn after we do our measurements. And then we're going to run a string to try to get the trees as straight as possible too. This way, with the trees in the front lawn, which I don't like that well putting them in, but then in the front lawn it's going to have sun not coming into the house, so hopefully the house will be a little bit cooler, especially because he's got a bigger picture window over there in the living room. He's got a bigger window over here that's in the dining room. Anyway, Roy's busy getting the stuff ready, and I'll pop in here every once in a while to show you him doing all the work. Okay, it should be about 3:30 right now, PM obviously, and it's 64 degrees. And just look at that beautiful blue sky. And it's supposed to possibly get to 70 tomorrow. And of course, all hell's gonna break loose and it's supposed to rain again. Anyway, here at my brother's, we have a wheelbarrow there for when we dig the grass. We're gonna try to shave it off so you don't have grass all put back down in the hole. It's not a heart attack, but it's kind of hell to screw with it. And then we're gonna go ahead and use the other wheelbarrow. When we dig the dirt, we're going to put it in there so we can chop it up so it's not spread all over the lawn, which is no big deal because it will wash down into the lawn when it rains, but we're going to try to make it pretty as if we had a woman watching. Anyway, and we're also going to, being how it's supposed to be so warm, we're going to go ahead and when we dig the hole, we're going to plant the tree. We'll put half the dirt in there, and then we'll put a bucket of water. So that way the water will wash the dirt around the roots so there's no air in there. And then go ahead and fill the dirt the rest of the way up. And we're going to do it to the rest of these trees too. We have them marked out approximately, let's see, I think that was 15 feet apart. So that's going to be a little bit tight for the apple trees maybe when they start spreading out, because you're looking, depends on how you prune it, but you might be 10 to 12 feet spread on each one of these trees. And let's see, over here we have the king apple, and if you'd like, let me see here, I'm trying to do too many things at once, I think. Let's see, it says it's a average of 12 to 15 tall and 12 to 15 wide, so it depends on how you trim your apple trees. And of course, almost all your fruits, they want you to have full sun. Well, this front yard gets a lot of sun, and that's why we're planting them here, is because the sun's just tearing the heck out of the house. But you can see it says it's a king apple. And you see the branches down below. I already pruned all these off. And realistically, I'd like to get rid of this one and this one, because like I say, these are going to turn into beautiful branches. But if you have a riding lawnmower, unless you have a big mulch circle around your tree, this is what's going to rip your head off as you're going by it. And I haven't done it yet. I'm going to wait till it's in the ground. But what I'm going to do, right there's last year's growth down. This here's, or 2-year-old wood down this way. This is last year's growth. And I'm gonna, once it's in the ground, I'm gonna go up about 6 feet and pop the top out of it. So that way, hopefully we'll start branching there, which it should. And if that's as successful as we're expecting, then we're gonna go ahead and take these 2 limbs off here the following year or 2. There's our water. Man, that's dirty water. And you drink that stuff?
You bet. That's the good stuff.
And this is only Roy, his house. Helping him do it.
Thank you,
As
Mike.
usual, when you're digging, you can see that we have a root because there used to be these evergreen trees in here. And it happens to be right in the middle of where we're going to plant our one tree. I got rid of that sucker. Now to finish digging the hole. Okay, you can see we got the tree in the hole. I didn't show you the leveling of it. I'll have to do that in the next one. Roy, do you want to get a bucket of water and just wash all around the circle of that tree? Because what we're trying to do, like I say, is get the roots surrounded by dirt. Don't be afraid to flood it on the sides. I think we're going to use another bucket. You just want, if you have a garden hose, that'd be even better to flood it with if you have pressure. Okay, that looks good. Now we'll go ahead and throw dirt in there and level it with the top of the grass. And of course that'll should settle down a little bit anyway, and so this summer should be easier to water. And where's those pruner shears? Here, Roy, I'll give you the honors. We were figuring about coming up about, see, this branch is going to go off that way. Oops.
This one will go towards the street.
Yeah, because it's over here. It'll go towards the street. That'll go towards the house. That'll come out. So I think that's what we're going to do is cut it right there.
Right there?
Yep. And they do it at an angle. Yeah, like that. They say that way that when it rains, the rain will run off instead of puddle here, causing it to rot. So there's our first tree. On to the next one. Okay, as you can see, we dug the grass off the top of it. Just to make it easier and cleaner to put the dirt back in the hole. And as we're putting it in the wheelbarrow, we're trying to chop it up a little bit because it'll make it easier to take out and put back in the hole and get it around the roots or root ball. And on this tree here, let's see, this is a Granny Smith apple. Let's see, it has a feature, but it didn't tell how big it's going to get or anything else. If this is summertime, you'd follow the planning guide, digging the hole 2 times the width and whatnot of the root system, the pot they're talking about. But this is actually still fall for us, and your fruit trees, or most of your trees, during the winter time their roots they're growing during the summertime, spring, summer. The upper parts busy leafing, fruiting, whatever. So actually it's better to buy these in the fall so they can work on their roots all winter. And then possibly, you still need to water them, but possibly you wouldn't have to water as much the following summer. And we're going to show you, like I say, which branches we're going to take off. And in fact, I'll tell you, these lower ones, they all need to come off, because unless you're using a push lawnmower, you can get underneath the tree real easy. Or you make a big circle or square or whatever and have this in some kind of a flower bed. Otherwise, if you have a riding lawnmower, these are going to rip onto your hands. This one here is going to rip your hat off. That one over there is going to piss you off.
This one's going to kick you off the lawnmower, whoop your ass.
That's right. So we're going to be knocking most of those down. And it does seem to be a shame to knock all those down, because you think, oh my gosh, all the flowers you're going to ruin and it's not going to fruit. Can you imagine this poor little thing trying to fruit? It's going to rip the branches off anyway if it happens to have apples on it. And from the top of the dirt there to here, it's not quite 3 feet. And they have a fork here because they must have topped it at one time. I can't tell for sure. And realistically, I'd love to trim this one off all the way down so you just have this one stem here. But like on the other tree, we'll probably leave this one here. And after we have this in the ground, we're going to nip this off approximately 6 feet. And if we can get these little buds here to grow the way we want, we're going to probably end up with better branches. And the following year, we can knock this one off. If things don't work out up above, it's a good thing we saved this one. But definitely all these other ones need to go. Okay, so only Roy's going to prune this, and what he's going to do, he's going to get as close to that trunk without scarring the trunk itself. He's going to get close to it because the less this tree has sticking out, the less chances it's going to start producing more branches. And also, it should be able to heal itself to where you won't even be able to tell that branch has been there. Uh-oh. Now we don't know what the tree is. The tag's gone.
Oh, shoot. That one too?
Yeah, that one too.
I was going to hang the tag back on that one.
Okay, now let's stick it in the hole and we'll show you what we do as we get it there. But first, as you can see, the hole, it's kind of rounded in the bottom. What we're going to do is take the shovel and flatten that out. And then when we put the tree in the hole, more than likely the tree will be sitting in the crooked and look like hell. And I'll show you how you straighten that up. Usually works. Okay, so now we're ready to plant. And we don't really want that root ball to fall off. They probably just put it in this pot last year. And so what we're doing is breaking up the sides, pop the bottom, and there you go. Pull on the tree, there you go. Now you see the roots that are in here. That tells me it hasn't been in here very long. And what I like to do, which there aren't any in here, very few, if there's roots on the bottom, I like to tear them up because that causes them to want to start growing again. And normally you tear the sides off too, because you break the roots. It says, someone's trying to kill me, it starts growing more. Now I can just throw it in there before it falls apart on us. And I think that's good there. And
So tell them why we're doing it that way.
you notice the reason, or first off, you notice this tree's crooked, and I'll show you how we straighten that up. And also what we're doing here, we have this branch coming off to the side, which is going to run into the tree there and so on. This way, we don't really care. It's not growing into the house. Excuse me, it's not growing into the road. And like I say, we can manage that too. So anyway, Roy, do you want to throw some dirt on this side? I'm going to show you how you level this tree up. Just get a good pile over here on this side.
There?
Yep. On this whole end. There you go. Now bring the shovel over here. And you have the shovel backwards. Because that way, push it down. Okay. Now try that. Get from the corner maybe and pop that again. A little bit more. That actually looks good. We're going to go ahead and let's see what the side looks like. See, for a couple of rookies, we don't do too bad. So that tree looks good. We're going to go ahead and add dirt around the bottom of it a little bit more and chop it in. And then we'll go ahead and do the bucket of water. Now remember, anytime you're shoveling around, especially the stalk, the trunk coming up, turn your shovel backwards because your shovel always wants to go the way the shovel's pointing. See right there, it's going to want to go that way. He turns it around, it's going to try to head into the roots or into the trunk. Okay, now what we're going to do is add a little more dirt, then we're going to water it in. Okay, what I'm going to do now is step on this to compact the dirt. Like I say, around here it's almost not necessary because it's still winter time. But this is going to help seal the dirt around what roots are there. Okay, Roy, if you want to give it the water test, just pour her in there and yeah, it looks good. Now we can let that soak in a little bit, but we don't have to hurry. Or if we want to hurry, we can go ahead and start throwing the dirt on top of that. The dirt you throw on top, that's going to turn to mud, but that's not going to be a problem because you're not stepping on it again. Okay, here I want you to also notice, you can see where the graft is. You don't want to take that dirt clear up over that graft. The reason why, that graft will start growing God knows what suckers off of it, and once it starts growing suckers, normally you can't stop the suckers. You can keep cutting them off year after year, and you just pray that we did it right so that way the suckers aren't going to come out of there. Cool. As you can see, every one of these are going to probably try to produce leaves or something, and we don't want anything up our branch. So if you can damage it a little bit, get rid of them little things. Some of them are so small you can't do anything about. But you come up here, this is the branch I'd actually like to chop off. I'm not going to. But just the same, this little thing here, see how it's pointing upward? That one's pointing upward. That there is not going to produce nothing for you. And the way I look at it, I want this growth to go into this tree building, not into fruit or leaves. You do need the leaves, I will admit, because that's what helps the energy of the tree. I hate this one, but I'm going to leave it just so it might flower, but it can have some leaves. Up here I'm not too thrilled with. I'm not going to go, I don't think I go any farther than that. And these here you can actually just take and damage them, take them off. This is all last year's growth. This here's the year before. I'm going to take that one off. It just looked at me funny. See, we haven't trimmed the top of this out yet either. And I think I'm going to do it here because we have one branch that's heading towards the driveway on the one side of the house. This one's heading towards the driveway on that side of the house. I think we're just going to take it off here. Yeah, we're probably only 5 feet, but I'm happy with that. Okay.
We dug this here BFR out of the ground. We're going to make sure that it goes back in. That's what you do with them. Otherwise, they'll be a bane to you forever.
Not just to cover it up. Actually, that's kind of like sand, just a big chunk of it. And there's probably a lot of minerals in there.
It will help the tree grow stronger.
Or if anything, a root will go underneath that rock, and that rock will hold it in place when we have a windstorm. As you saw, the ground was already soaked with water. Like I say, this does help the roots. You wait till the next one. The next one we're planting is a bare root. So we're going to definitely have to get the dirt stomped around the root on it. Okay, this here is known as a bare root tree. Got it from the nursery. And I put the bag around it to help keep the moisture into these roots here. This here is a peach tree. I don't remember the name of it. Is this a frost peach?
Same one you got today.
Okay, it's frost peach. But you gotta, like I say, you gotta pack dirt and water the heck out of this because it is bare root. Hasn't had time to get into anyone's dirt compared to the ones that have been in the pot. And once we get in the ground, we'll see how we want to possibly limb this, but there's not going to be too much limbing going on, I don't think. We'll get back at you when we get ready to plant it.
One root. Two roots. Three roots.
Sweet! Okay, we got the root in. Wasn't, like I say, much root on here. We're going to put a light coat all the way across it per se. Not too light, but I'll throw one underneath there maybe. And one or two on top. Yeah. And we gotta be careful we don't bump the tree. I mean, it's already had the hail bumped out of it from when they were digging it, but that's a industrial, all of them are industrial nurseries. They're not their own trees, and usually it doesn't hurt them, but okay, let's see. Move this up this way a little bit. And then right there. Ouch. I'm gonna have to use a cane after this. Okay, see how that tree's basically holding itself up now. If you have a high wind area, you might want to stake these trees, but we're not staking any of these trees. Besides that, we don't have the public grabbing on them, dogs chewing on them. Although the nursery guy I was watching on YouTube, he's been practicing. He has this what is it, a zucchini plant, and it's humongous. And he says he wasn't going to tell the story about it, but he decided to let us know. So what he's been doing is he's been whizzing on the damn thing. And he says, by golly, it started growing. And he says, I didn't record the other plants I've been whizzing on. I do it 2 or 3 times a week, he says. So he goes around and sprinkles his little cheer, I guess. And he says, it's amazing on how well the plants are doing. He says he's heard about it, but he's just shocked that it actually worked. So I imagine if we tell Dad he's always whizzing in the backyard, maybe he'll come over and piss on Roy's trees. Only Roy's trees.
And they grow so well because we piss them off.
Okay, add the dirt to this. And I don't know, I don't think I'm going to prune it this year. I'm just going to let that thing grow. Let's take a look at the top here. Yeah, he hasn't pruned the top yet, so maybe we'll go ahead and just nip the top one. Okay, maybe a couple more to get him out of the center. Other than that, I think we're going to leave it. So I'm not going to show you the pruning, but you take a look at it when I'm done and see if I actually did anything or not. Okay, here's the tree. And let's see, I can't believe it, but they actually look pretty good on being lined up. All the way down to that stick down there. Roy here used to have evergreen trees planted along here, and they weren't meant to be decorative. They were meant to be actual Christmas trees, and they just got out of hand, besides being too close to the road and everything else. So years ago he had them chopped down, and there he is pulling up more stumps. or they're not stumps or roots. It just had this yard just littered with those things. And slowly but surely he's been filling those holes in because they're not fun to mow over. It's almost like you need a four-wheel drive lawnmower. But I'm happy with as straight as we got these. I mean, accidents will happen. And then where that stick is way down there, we decided we'd get one more tree in. So we're debating if we want to put in a hazelnut or a hawthorn or a holly tree or something like that.
And I told just Mike, he's crazy.
There's that puppy. Are you a good puppy? Are you a good puppy? Yes. You're a good puppy. You're a good puppy. Yep, this is my brother's, only Roy's dog. His name's Your Dog. Yes. Yes.